Welcome back, everyone, to Chapter 2 of Man and Technics, a contribution to a philosophy of life. We will continue after we last left off with Chapter 1, and let's see how that goes. 3. Man is a beast of prey. Acute thinkers like Montaigne and Nietzsche have always known this. The old fairy tales and the proverbs of peasant and nomad folk the world over, with their lively cunning, the half-smiling penetration characteristic of the great connoisseur of man, whether statesman or general, merchant or judge, at the maturity of his rich life, the despair of the world improver who has failed, the invective of the angered priest. In none of these is denial or even concealment of the fact as much attempted. Only the ceremonious solemnity of idealist philosophers and other theologians has wanted the courage to be open about what in their hearts they knew perfectly well. Ideals are cowardice, yet even from the works of these one could cull a pretty anthology of opinions that they have from time to time let slip concerning the beast in man. Today we must definitely settle accounts with this view. Skepticism, the last remaining philosophical attitude that is possible to, nay, that is worthy of, this age, allows no such evasion of issues. Yet, for this very reason, neither would I leave unchallenged other views that have been developed out of the natural science in the last century. Our anatomical treatment and classification of the animal world is, as is to be expected from its origin, dominated entirely by the materialist outlook. Granted that the picture of the body, as it presents itself to the human, and only to the human, eye, and a fortiori that of the body as dissected and chemically treated and experimentally maltreated, eventuates in a system. The system founded by Linnaeus and deepened in its paleological aspect by the Darwinian school, a system of static and optically appreciable details. Yet after all there is another, a quite other and unsystematic ordering according to species of life, which is revealed only through unsophisticated living with it, through the inwardly felt relationship of ego and two, which is known to every peasant, but also to every true artist and poet. I love to meditate upon the physiognomic. Okay, let's repeat that. I love to meditate upon the physiognomic of the kinds of animal living, the kinds of animal soul, leaving the systematic of bodily structure to the zoologists. For thereupon a wholly different hierarchy, one of life and not of body, discloses itself. A plant lives, although only in the restricted sense of a living being. Actually, there is life in it, or about it. It breathes. It feeds. It multiplies, we say, but in reality it is merely a theater of processes that form one unity along with the processes of the natural environment, such as day and night, sunshine and soil fermentation, so that the plant itself cannot will or choose. Everything takes place with it and in it. It selects neither its position nor its nourishment, nor the other plants with which it produces its offspring. It does not move itself, but is moved by wind and warmth and light. Above this grade of life now rises the freely movable life of the animals. But of this there are two stages. There is one kind represented in every anatomical genus from unicellular animals to aquatic birds and ungulates, whose living depends for its maintenance upon the immobile plant world, for plants cannot flee or defend themselves. But above this there is a second kind, which lives on other animals and whose living consists in killing. Here the prey is itself mobile, and highly so, and moreover it is combative, and well equipped with dodges of all sorts. This second kind also is found in all the genera of the system. Every drop of water is a battlefield, and we, who have the land battle so constantly before our eyes that it is taken for granted or even forgotten, shudder to see how the fantastic forms of the deep sea carry on the life of killing and being killed. The animal of prey is the highest form of mobile life. It implies a maximum of freedom for self against others, of responsibility to self, of singleness to self, of an extreme of necessity, where that self can hold its own only by fighting and winning and destroying. It imparts a high dignity to man as a type, that he is the best beast of prey. Let's read that again. It imparts a high dignity to man as a type, that he is the best. It imparts a high dignity to man as a type, that he is a beast of prey. A herbivore is by its destiny a prey, and it seeks to escape this destiny by flight. But beasts of prey must get prey. The one type of life is of its innermost essence defensive, the other offensive, hard, cruel, destructive. The difference appears even in the tactics of movement. On the one hand, the habit of flight, fleetness, cutting of corners, evasion, concealment, and on the other, the straight line motion of the attack, the lion's spring, the eagle's swoop. There are dodges and counter-dodges alike, in the style of the strong and in that of the weak. Cleverness in the human sense, active cleverness, belongs only to beasts of prey. Herbivores are by comparison stupid, and not merely the innocent dove and the elephant, but even the noblest sorts like the bull, the horse, and the deer. Only in blind rage or sexual excitement are these capable of fighting. Otherwise, they will allow themselves to be tamed, and a child can lead them. Besides these differences in kind of motion, there are others, still more effective, in the organs of sense. For these are accompanied by differences in the mode of apprehending, of having a world. In itself, every being lives in nature, in an environment, irrespective of whether it notices this environment, or is noticeable in it, or neither. But it is the relation, mysterious, inexplicable by any human reasoning, that is established between animal and environment, by touching, ordering, and understanding, which creates out of mere environment a world around. The higher herbivores are ruled by the ear, but above all by scent. The higher carnivores, on the other hand, rule with the eye. Scent is the characteristically defensive sense. The nose catches the quarter and the distance of danger, and so gives the flight movement the appropriate direction, away from something. But the eye of the preying animal gives a target. The very fact that, in the great carnivores as in man, the two eyes can be fixed on one point in the environment enables the animal to bind its prey. In that hostile glare, there is already implicit for the victim the doom that it cannot escape, the spring that is instantly to follow. But this act of fixation by two eyes disposed forward and parallel is equivalent to the birth of the world, in the sense that man possesses it, that is, as a picture, as a world before the eyes, as a world not merely of lights and colors, but of perspective distance, of space and motion in space, and of objects situated at definite points. This way of seeing, which all the higher carnivores possess, in herbivores, e.g., ungulates, the eyes are set sideways, each giving a different and non-perspective impression, implies in itself the notion of commanding. The world picture is the environment as commanded by the eyes. The eye of the beast of prey determines things according to position and distance. It apprehends the horizon. It measures up in this battlefield the objects and conditions of attack. Sniffing and spying, the way of the hind and the way of the falcon, are related as slavery and dominance. There is an infinite sense of power in this quiet, wide-angle vision, a feeling of freedom that has its source in superiority and its foundation in the knowledge of greater strength and consequent certainty of being no one's prey. The world is the prey, and in the last analysis it is owing to this fact that human culture has come into existence. And lastly, this fact of an innate superiority has become intensified, not only outwards with respect to the light world and its endless distances, but also inwards as regards the sort of soul that the strong animals possess. The soul, this enigmatic something which we feel when we hear the word used, but of which the essence baffles all science. The divine spark in this living body, which in this divinely cruel, divinely indifferent world has either to rule or to submit, is the counterpole of the light world about us, and hence man's thought and feeling are very ready to assume the existence of a world soul in it. The more solitary the being, and the more resolute it is in forming its own world against all other conjunctures of worlds in the environment, the more definite and strong the cast of its soul. What is the opposite of the soul of a lion? The soul of a cow. For strength of individual soul in herbivores, substitute numbers, the herd, the common feeling and doing of masses. But the less one needs others, the more powerful one is. A beast of prey is everyone's foe. Never does he tolerate an equal in his den. Here we are at the root of the truly royal idea of property. Property is the domain in which one exercises unlimited power, the power that one has gained in battling, defended against one's peers, victoriously upheld. It is not a right to mere having, but the sovereign right to do as one will with one's own. Once this is understood, we see that there are carnivore and that there are Once this is understood, we see that there are carnivore and there are herbivore ethics. It is beyond anyone's power to alter this. It pertains to the inward form, meaning, and tactics of all life. It is simply a fact. We can annihilate life, but we cannot alter it in kind. a beast of prey tamed in captivity. Every zoological garden can furnish examples, is mutilated, world sick, inwardly dead. Some of them voluntarily hunger strike when they are captured. Herbivores give up nothing in being domesticated. Such is the difference between the destiny of herbivores and that of the beast of prey. The one destiny only menaces, the other enhances as well. The former depresses, makes mean and cowardly, while the latter elevates through power and victory, pride and hate. The former is a destiny that imposed on one. The former is a destiny that is imposed on one. The latter is a destiny that is identical with oneself. And the fight of nature within against nature without is thus seen to be not misery, as Schopenhauer and Darwin's struggle for existence regarded, but as a grand meaning that ennobles life, the amor fati of Nietzsche. And it is to this kind and not to the other that man belongs. All right. Oh my god, what have I done? Oh my god. Fuck, you can't even read. Should I just keep it this way? I'm sorry, I thought I did that last time. Now it seems to have cut off always the top and the bottom, but only one sentence. Oh my god. That's not good. Stretch to screen. I guess this would work. Yeah, this looks like this works. Nice. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. You lost a bit of each page there, but I'm not going to redo it. In fact, I'm going to continue now with part 4. Man is no simpleton, naturally good and stupid, not a semi-ape with technical tendencies, as Haeckel describes him and Gabriel Max portrays him. Over these pictures there still falls the plebeian shadow of Rousseau. No, the tactics of his living are those of a splendid beast of prey, brave, crafty, and cruel. He lives by attacking and killing and destroying. He wills, and has willed ever since he existed, to be master. Does this mean, however, that Technics is actually older than man? Certainly not. There is a vast difference between man and all other animals. The technique of the latter is a generic technique. It is neither inventive nor capable of development. The bee type, ever since it existed, has built its honeycombs exactly as it does now, and will continue to build them so till it is extinct. They belong to it as the form of its wing and the coloring of its body belong to it. Distinctions between bodily structure and way of life are only anatomists' distinctions. If we start from the inner form of the life instead of that of the body, tactics of living and organization of body appear as one and the same, both being expressions of one organic actuality. Genus is a form, not of the visible and static, but of mobility, a form not of so being, but of so doing. Bodily form is the form of the active body. Bees, termites, beavers build wonderful structures. Ants know agriculture, road making, slavery, and war management. Nursing, fortification, organization, migration are found widely spread. All that man can do, one or another sort of animal has achieved. Free-moving life in general contains tendencies that exist, dormant as potentialities. Man achieves nothing that is not achievable by life as a whole, and yet all this has at bottom nothing whatever to do with human techniques. This generic technique is unalterable. That is what the word instinct means. Animal thought, being strictly connected with the immediate here and now, and knowing neither past nor future, knows also neither experience nor anxiety. It is not true that the female animal cares for her young. Care is a feeling that presupposes mental vision into the future, concern for what is to be, just as regret presupposes knowledge of what was. An animal can neither hate nor despair. Its nursing activity is, like everything else above mentioned, a dark unconscious response to impulse such as is found in many types of life. It is a property of the species and not of the individual. Generic technique is not merely unalterable, but also impersonal. The unique fact about human techniques, on the contrary, is that it is independent of the life of the human genus. It is the one instance in all the history of life in which the individual frees himself from the compulsion of the genus. One has to meditate long upon this thought if one is to grasp its immense implications. Technics in man's life is conscious, arbitrary, alterable, personal, inventive. It is learned and improved. Man has become the creator of his tactics of living. That is his grandeur and his doom, and the inner form of his creativeness. And the inner form of this creativeness we call culture. To be cultured, to cultivate, to suffer from culture. The man's creation are the expression of his being in personal form. And that was chapter 2. Either tomorrow or in 2 days I will do chapter 3, because my throat is really... it doesn't feel good after reading this. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you again, or speak to you again in a few days. Goodbye.